Welcome back to round 2 of exciting Tuesday Night Modern.
Hot modern action.
Hot modern action.
You guys might recognize these folks. On the left-hand side, we have Stephen Comminos playing an Elves deck.
And on the right, we have an Amish person that we pulled off the streets.
Yeah, he was at the local farmers market.
Yeah, raising barns left and right. We had to stop him.
We said, hey, have you ever heard of Magic the Gathering? And he was very skeptical to begin with.
Of course.
Being Amish, they're very devout. And we're like, no, it's a game.
It's a game, trust me. He's like, well, I like gatherings.
He'll have some fun. Yeah, he did. He loves him a gathering.
Loves him a good gathering.
Gosh, can we get an
Here we go. It's not an Amish guy.
It's
It's
Patrick Aguilar. Aguilar?
Aguilar.
Aguilar?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going with Aguilar because it sounds the least ridiculous.
Can we get an Amish theme set just called The Gathering?
The Gathering?
And instead of trying to kill each other, where it's just like each deck is built to raise a certain type of barn.
Yeah, instead of like the brick tokens, you get lumber tokens.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Whoever raises their barn first wins. All right, we've got a pretty good start here from the Elves deck. Llanowar Elves on 1.
This just sounds like Agricola, I think.
It might be.
It might just be Agricola. We're going to bolt the proverbial bird is the question.
Grixis control represented again. This is an odd deck to see twice. I guess the other one was Grixis Delver.
It draws. Alright. Seeing a swamp.
Here's the question. Is he going to let Steven untap with his Llanowar Elf? I would recommend against it. He's got 2 bolts in hand.
Yeah, I think chances are slim.
So he can bolt the Llanowar Elf and play Tasigur this turn.
That seems like something I'd be interested in doing.
Yeah.
Does that interest you, John?
A little bit less than it interests you, I think, but it's pretty high up there.
Alright. The only card you've ever tried to cast ahead of its time is the Gitrog monster.
Well, I've been casting Gitrog since before it was released. Proxy that bad boy up.
Oh,
all the
yeah?
way down to 14. Man, that's dangerous territory. He must really be confident in the hold he's going to have on this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Golden Fang's going to come into play.
Tasigur does do a pretty good job of blocking.
Oh, we're just Tasiguring. So this is interesting. Leaving Steven with 3 mana opens up a world of options in this Elves deck. And
I think he realized that he doesn't actually have to do that.
Okay.
Oh, he's letting him untap with it.
3 mana anyway. See, I think this is a mistake.
Danger.
Because given enough time, this Elves deck can overcome a Tasigur. It's not like outside the realm of possibility.
Easy peasy. You got 5 turns.
I mean, we're talking about a deck that goes wide. We need a land drop here, Steve. Nope. All right.
Wow.
The Nettle Sentinel.
Bolts the Nettle Sentinel when there's no second land drop. I mean, he has infinite removal in hand. I see a push. I see another bolt. I see a Snapcaster. We're probably going to get a Snap Bolt here. But man, now you're letting him tap with 3, maybe 4 mana. Once he gets to 4, Collected Company could just be game for you.
Yeah, I mean, resolving that spell can literally just end the game. With the way this deck plays out with Devoted Druid and Vizier.
That's true. We have an activated ability, I guess, for the Gathering game. 1 and a white, churn butter.
Churn butter.
Sometimes you just gotta churn the butter for 1 and a white.
I think you just put a butter token on the churner. Target creature gets a butter token.
Target butter token becomes churned. Oh man!
Target
Here's the Nettle
Target
Sentinel.
milk token becomes churned. destroy it and add a butter token to play. So he chooses to just bolt out of his hand.
Attack for 1. The elves are vicious.
1 bone broken for every twig snapped underfoot.
Uh-oh. It's a lot of bones.
It is the Llanowar penalty for trespassing.
Harsh penalty.
Concur. Reminds you to only trespass in Llanowar on a hovercraft.
Or, like, on a bike. Or a Segway.
Oh, I guess it's not snapping underfoot, isn't it?
Right, it's
Sure.
snapping under Segway.
I think a hovercraft is just super cool.
I don't know how well hovercrafts would handle in the woods.
Yeah, function in a forest setting.
Yeah, I don't think that's
What about the speeder bikes from Star Wars?
from Star Wars. Well, they barely functioned at all.
All right. So this Tazger keeps banging in, and Steven's hunting this second land. He's got 3 mana available to him. And he's just staring down Patrick's land. And that's not something you can do. You can't just sit here and be like, okay, well, you got all these counter spells, so I can't cast anything.
Right.
I would get to casting, my friend. Pick an order.
Or at least get to swinging. There we go.
That's step 1. Alright, trigger's good on the Ninel Sentinel. We have a Devoted Druid resolved.
I don't know how many of these Devoted Druids I want in my deck if I'm going to just put the combo in a regular Elves deck.
So, the question becomes how many payoff cards can you have?
Payoff cards for what? Devoted Druid?
For having an infinite number of mana. So, like, Court of Calling is 1.
I mean, Azuri just wins you the game.
Azuri's 1. Duskwatch Recruiter's 1.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems interesting because you're playing Collected Company anyway and Court of Calling, so like you have a lot of ways to fetch it up. But if it's watering down your deck this much, it's not where you want to be.
I don't really think it's having an effect on the game we're watching. I mean, this is just a marginal hand that he kept it because it has so many accelerants. And I don't think the Elves decks really need more than 1 land.
Sure, but if that Devoted Druid was like an Arch Druid, this game is completely different.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what gets cut out of this Elves deck, like what decisions Steven has made there.
Thought Scouring himself. Goodbye Serum Visions. Goodbye Bloodstained Mire. Hello
Ancestral Visions.
I don't know that you need or want to suspend this, but here we go anyway. Have spell, suspend spell. I think I see multiple fatal pushes in Patrick's hand. Fatal pushing the Devoted Druid. Okay. Card wasn't doing anything anyway. I don't know what he's thinking about.
Yeah, just thinking about,
Just life.
how devoted this
Just
druid's
life and
been to
stuff.
him.
There's the second land.
There's a second land. This beautiful Guru Forest coming in.
Overrated Guru Forest is coming in.
I would concur. It's not even my favorite promo forest.
Really?
Really.
It's not my favorite promo forest either.
We got four lands here, though. I think this is Steven's best spot to get himself back in the game. So
Yeah,
Patrick
Patrick is
isn't
all but tapped out.
right. He's not showing any counter magic.
I mean, he could have the
Spell Snare would be the worst thing.
Stubborn Denial.
Stubborn Denial, sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be casting a collecting company here, but I would be trying to commit some guys to the board. Come on, more.
Devoted Druid. Dwynen's Elite.
Alright. And I think I spied a
Cord.
A Chord of Calling and an Elvish Archdruid in his hand.
Yeah.
So, Patrick's valuing these Devoted Druids very highly, which...
Ooh, I would have corded there for 1.
What do you get on the Chord for 1?
Heritage Druid.
Okay. More land. I think Tasker's got to come in here, right?
I don't know. So if you hold Tasker back, you're just saying I don't have anything.
Right.
And then Steven knows that it's time.
Well, I'm wondering if you could even get him to play around 2 cards. So if you send Tasker in, you can say you need to call my bluff on a Fatal Push or a Bolt. And then he untaps, and if it's a counterspell in your hand, he's just really screwed. So I mean, you can get him to play around 2 cards there by attacking. In this Nettle Sentinel, I think it's bad news bears for you. So getting to take out that and the Dwynen's Elite could have been a big deal. Yeah, so Steven's really orchestrated this position. He's kept himself in this game.
All right, we've got an Archdruid.
Yep.
Are we all in here? I'd be all in. So it's 2, 5, 6, 7 damage coming through.
Yeah, he's gonna block one of them. He's gonna take 5.
No, that's with blocking one of them. So
Oh, you want the Llanowar Elf to come too?
Oh yeah, send them all.
Put him to 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Snap a Bolt here is very good.
Absolutely insane.
But I don't think that's what he has, because he would have attacked with the Tasker if he had Snap a Bolt. Alright, he goes to 3 and he's got the win next turn.
So 1 mana replaces the Nettle Sentinel.
Okay, we got a replicated board position here. So yeah, I think that's good. I think putting him to 3 and putting him to 1 are fairly equivalent in this situation.
Alright, so he's giving him Thought Scour.
Gets Thought Scour back.
I would target Steven here.
Alright. So Patrick needs to do something here.
He drew a Cryptic Command.
Okay, this is going to buy him a turn.
Well, it might win him the game if he can attack and get that Tasker through.
So if he attacks here, he loses Tasker, but he gets to take down Archdruid, Nettle Sentinel, and then Cryptic Steven on his turn.
So there's no way he's trading off that Archdruid.
Right.
Tasker number 2.
That's interesting. This is good because it lets him
Get rid of all these draw spells.
that we don't need.
I would get rid of that Colligan's commands too.
Concur.
Nope. He's keeping the Colligan's commands in.
Well, he's got Snapcaster to get back with the Colgan's command.
Okay.
So
It's not the worst.
yeah, I guess it's not the worst. I'm not excited about it. Legend rules the Tasigur. Here we go. So let's see. Steven needs his cord to go off for 3. And then...
Archer is tapping for 5. So that plus 1 mana
39.
gets you your Azuri, but then you don't have enough to overrun.
And it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is he's going to move to combat, and Patrick's going to crypto command the team, and then Steven's going to respond with the Court of Calling.
The Court of Calling, yeah. Spending another Ancestral Visions for no reason.
I mean, you might as well get it out there. I mean, if the game goes that long, he's going to need it.
I don't think the game's going to go that long, and I think that bluffing a removal spell is way more important here.
Let's see what happens here. Yeah, so here you just generate all your mana.
So if you could keep 1 blue open and hold that Ancestral Vision back, Steven might still fire off the cord.
But you can feign the Stubborn Denial.
You can pretend like you have a Stubborn Denial or a Fatal Push or something like that. It makes Steven play around things.
Alright.
Don't tap that forest, you fool.
What?
You can just tap the Elvish Archdruid for 5.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this cord's going for 5?
I'm pretty sure this is just cord for 3. He didn't tap them for mana, he's tapping them for Convoke to get an Azuri.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so now Azuri is in play. It can regenerate 2 creatures.
Could have regenerated 3 if you played his cards right.
Right, but so we're on Damnation doesn't let you regenerate. Anger of the Gods does. Yes?
Yes.
And so if he can just regenerate Azuri and the Elvish Archdruid?
Azuri doesn't let you regenerate itself.
Okay. So
It's
he would
another
regenerate the Archdruid and the Dwynen's Elite?
Probably.
And then he attacks. The Archdruid gets in, puts Patrick to 1. So this could cost him. Goes down to 4 here. Oh, that's not good. It's not good for Patrick.
Not good for Steven. It looks like Patrick's hand is another Cryptic.
Oh, that's brutal. That is brutal.
And a Snapcaster, so he could even snap Cryptic if he wanted to.
And this, yeah, that's a pretty sick draw. He's going to get to refill 3 cards with the next Ancestral Vision. Yeah.
Not that he needs it.
Well, I mean, it's fine here because he needs to block this Tasigur.
The Heritage Druid?
Yeah.
I'm saying the cards from Ancestral Visions are...
Oh, not that he needs to reload.
Right. So now any removal spell, like this bolt, will do it.
Interesting. Yeah, that cryptic command was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Steven could have played that game differently. What do you think about the keep? That might be the only point of decision where he could have improved.
If he draws another land there, it's good. Patrick should have probably killed those Llanowar Elves and just ran away with this game. But he didn't. Wasn't punished, though. Life's not fair.
Yep.
Patrick won that one 1-0, not Steven. For our illustrious stream runner out there. If you regen the Heritage Druid, it taps it.
Right. So the Tasker still gets in.
Not bad. It's a complicated board state. Plus, he also had the Terminate, so he could have just terminated it. Can't regen then.
So,
if I were him, I would have gone for full style points and just played the Snapcaster, Cryptic, tap all your guys, draw, swing in with Tassiger.
Sure.
The old triple Cryptic.
I would have Bolt, Snap, Bolt. Just classic.
That's not classic. Get out of here.
All right, well,
get out of here.
I'll shut up. So, what do you think of the no bans in Modern? Do you think this Grixis Shadow deck is that oppressive?
No, I'm very happy there's no bans in Modern. I think Modern's in a great place.
I concur.
I think Modern's in the best place it's been since Cons.
Wow. Since Tassiger became a card?
Since before Cons.
I'm trying to remember the metagame before that. It was just like Twin v. the World, right?
It was Birthing Pod v. the World.
Oh, sure.
The Elves didn't win. We've got a typo up there. Yeah, Shadow of the Pack, but this is not the green-black list. This is green-white. And he's playing white for some 6 sideboard tech, as well as being able to run the Devoted Druid combo, which makes up for the reach that Shaman of the Pack would have provided him.
Yeah,
I definitely think Modern's in a great place and very happy that nothing got banned. What's your take on this?
I would concur. What I really want to see happen is I want to see somebody smarter than me do an analysis on why SCG tournaments produce different results in the end of the I think the metagames are fairly similar between SCGs and Grand Prix, but your day 2 and top 8 metagames are wildly different. So, like modern Grand Prix that have been happening, the Japanese one had 8 different decks.
Right.
The American one had like 6 different decks, 5 or 6.
Yeah. It was 6.
But then this SCG last weekend has 4 Grixis Shadow decks in the top 8. Like, what gives there?
So I think there's more disparity between like the player skill level in SCG versus a Grand Prix Day 2. You don't see Grand Prix Day 1 stats. Like, that's just irrelevant. So you see Grand Prix Day 2 versus top 8 conversion.
Right.
And you see SCG versus top 8 conversion. So you have a wider disparity there in skill level. And when skill level is more variable, you see these better decks kind of come out ahead. Additionally, I think there's a lot more like teams that get into the Star City grind. So like you have these Pro Tour teams, but they're mostly made of like Platinum Pros and people that don't need to grind Grand Prix.
Right.
But the SCG grind is much more lucrative. higher EV than at Grand Prix. So it attracts these teams a little bit more.
Okay.
So you see more people playing similar decks. And obviously they're going to gravitate towards the better decks.
Sure.
I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, Elves did not win the first game. Anyway, I'm perfectly fine with Death Shadow being on top. I don't think it's oppressive at all.
Okay.
I don't think it warps the metagame at all.
Okay.
I don't think there's any strategy that you could play if it weren't for that darn Death Shadow and his meddling kids and that darn dog.
Okay.
Just a good deck. That's fine. What I want to see, my end game for Modern, is to get as few cards on the ban list as possible. Just really bring them on down.
All right, so Patrick's on a five carder here with like 3 lands. I think he just flashed us.
It might have been 4, but the one card I did see was an Anger of the Gods, and that could be a big deal. As far as unbannings go, I was really big into the unbanned Bloodbraid Elf and Stoneforge Mystic plan.
And Stoneforge Mystic?
Yeah, I wanted both to be unbanned at the same time.
So
I think white is by far the worst color.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Emrakul being unbanned in Standard would have been sick. I think that's perfectly fine.
Standard was my biggest disappointment.
I mean, this whole week's worth of announcements has been a disappointment so far.
I would concur.
So no elves are ever going to get countered ever. Don't even think about it.
I wonder if one of them just named like Wizard or Druid.
Or Vizier.
Oh, sure. I guess it's a human Vizier, isn't it?
It might be is Vizier a creature type? It might be Cleric. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably Cleric. You're right.
But yes, with the modern unbannings or bannings, I think you definitely want to help white out, because I think white's by far the worst color in modern.
Uh-huh.
And I think Stoneforge Mystic is obviously very good, but I don't think it's too good. And I don't think it would spawn any new archetypes. So I think you just make the existing decks that run white, so like these Nightfall decks or like an Abzan deck, it gives them a little bit more to play with there. Man, this is going to be the filthiest Anger of the Gods ever. Just stone filth.
Yep. Those gods were not happy.
Just filthy.
This is one way to... So he literally just got 4 for 1.
Yeah.
And so this is one way to come back from that mulligan to 5. He literally just plus 2 cards.
Yeah, just basically drew 2 cards.
It drew 3, really. If we're going to do, straight up card advantage math in a classic fashion.
And here we have this Ancestral Vision about to come off the suspended as well. Yeah, Jace is interesting.
Jace is way too powerful to be in Modern. You would literally create these decks where it's a race to Jace.
I think turn 4 is just too slow.
No, it would be like turn 3.
No.
It would be turn 3 with backup. How's that?
No.
I would build a deck.
You would build a deck. Okay.
I'd build a deck.
Every great story in the history of Taylor Gunn has started with I would build a deck.
No, I have plenty of great stories that do not involve deck building.
Okay.
With Search for Tomorrow and Birds of Paradise, if my one drops.
What's the point of playing Jace then if you're just brainstorming into mana dorks?
Because it doesn't matter. Because you get to Search for Tomorrow is fantastic in this deck because it lets you shuffle your library.
I agree that it lets you shuffle your library. I disagree that it's fantastic.
My turn 2 would be Farseek and Secure Tribe Elder.
So we're just ramping into Jace.
Yeah, I want to play it on turn 3 with like Spell Snare or Spell Pierce backup.
Why? You're just dead. You're just dead.
If I actually have Spell Pierce in my deck and I come up against a burn deck, I'll Spell Pierce your, Searing Blaze or whatever.
You just dead.
I don't think that deck can beat me at that point.
Yeah, but I think the odds that you're coming up against like 6/6 Death Shadows, like when you're trying to cast as Jace, makes it pretty hard for you to win there. Or like a turn 2 Tasigur. Like that's a very, very real thing.
I think the turn 2 Tasigur probably plays in this deck I'm talking about.
Okay, so you want Mana Ramp, Tasigur, Jace, and lands, right? That's where we're at? Do we get to run some removal?
Yeah, you get to run removal and counter spells.
Okay, so what kind of removal are we going to run? We're going to run like
Abrupt
Grip
Decay?
of Desolation, just like big expensive removal that doesn't do anything
Abrupt
as well?
Decay?
Okay.
My point is that
I don't think you know what your point is. But go on. Go on. Tell me your point. Tell me your point.
So is Steven going to be able to overcome this Anger of the Gods, followed up by this Resolved Ancestral Visions?
Patrick's so Steven can win out of nowhere, and if he doesn't have another board wipe now, he's still in trouble. Like, this is 4 power on the board.
He has like 1 million cards in hand.
He has 1 million Spell Pierces and Jaces, and none of them are going to stop these elves from coming across.
I hope he doesn't have any Jaces, as Jace Bellerin is not good enough.
Jace Bellerin's pretty good.
I've not seen a modern deck with a Jace Bellerin in it.
You would. Is it Static Caster?
I think it is.
How do you feel about Is it Static Caster?
This card's really good. I think it was almost universally a one-of in the Death Shadow decks sideboard.
Yeah. I think this deck did some work against you on Friday, or was it last Friday that I saw that?
Oh yeah, this was a week ago Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty big deal.
Yeah, turns could run Jace. You could probably like shoehorn Jason to Scape Shift and it would be very good. So like any deck basically that runs Cryptic Command, you could probably just run Jace instead.
Jace would be... So this Grixis control deck is like on the cusp of being a tier 1 deck. And
sure.
if you gave it Jace, I think it would be just over the top.
Over the top.
Could you imagine turn 2 Tasker into turn 4 Jace? And
yeah.
You can do whatever you want on turn 3.
See, now that sounds much better.
Yeah, you get to defend Jace, and like, what's your opponent going to do? Like, alright, Fate Seal you. Alright, you can't win now, because I'm going to control every draw you have.
I know what I'd do to beat that metagame.
What would you do to beat the Jace metagame?
The Jace Death Shadow metagame?
I don't think there's a Jace Death Shadow deck. I think the Death Shadow decks would be overcome by this Grixis control deck.
I'm saying there would be Grixis Death Shadow decks and Grixis Jace decks control.
Okay.
I would play Fiery Justice.
Yeah.
In the main.
In the main. Oh, so they gain 5 life, and you deal 5 damage to their Jace.
Exactly.
I would play the hell out of that deck.
And then against the Death Shadow decks, you make them gain 5 life to kill their Death Shadows and then like kill their Tasigur.
Sure.
Yeah. Just get them. All the way. Got him.
That's actually insane. You can kill their Gurmag anglers?
Yeah, you just kill everything.
Man.
Nice 5 life, you dummy. Cycle some more Street Wraiths.
Can I play a Naya, like, burn deck?
I mean,
with Fiery Justice in it?
I don't think you want your opponent to gain life in a burn deck. I think it's fine in, like, a mid-range deck or aggro deck,
sure.
but burn, not so much.
The card I want to play in Standard is Prepare to Fight. I'm all in on green-white X decks.
Yeah, I never really understood why I like that one so much, but it's pretty cool. Man, just clearing out the board here.
Yep. I don't think Steven's got a chance in this one. I don't think he has a leg to stand on. And since Patrick won our first game, he's going to wrap up this match. There we go. There we go.
All right, we have adjusted the game score just
Yep.
in time. Tasker gets in there for 4. I would be activating this creeping tar pit and getting in. I want this game to be over with as quickly as possible. I don't want to even have any opportunity to get back in this one. But as with most control players that don't... There's a lot of tendencies that control players who don't have a ton of experience playing control have. And one of those is not closing out the game as quickly as possible.
Sure.
Like, they get in this position where they have, like, a million cards in hand and they think they can just, like, you know, ride this out. And
Right. Where it's just mathematically better for them to end the game faster so
Right, you
that
just
their
wanna end the
opponent has
game.
less chance to come back into it.
Exactly, as quickly as possible, especially these caverns out. If he drops a creature that's going to be a big threat, you don't have any way to get around that.
See, and this is frustrating. I mean, so Steven has 2 lands to play that can only cast creatures. So what Patrick should do is make a list of flash creatures of the types that Steven has named on these Caverns of Souls.
Then cross them all out,
Then cross
activate
them all
your
out.
creeping tar pit,
Right.
and attack.
Yeah, so I mean, he's made the cute play of force you to discard with, and
It's downright adorable.
there's a damnation that's never going to see the light of day.
So now we just have the game here. I guess we don't have the full game. We can fire up, we only have the 1 bolt. We can fire up this creeping tar pit, get in there with Tasker and tar pit.
Yeah, it puts him to 2 if we make this series of plays.
What are we doing with our
Our
lives?
Listen, this Seer Visions is critical in that it might result in Patrick winning the game even more.
Or even later. Just swinging with Tasker.
Yep, totally reasonable.
Totally reasonable.
So, of the flash creatures, Patrick could have crossed off all the ones with 1 toughness, as he can just instantly kill them
Sure.
anytime he has priority.
Disagree.
What's a 1 toughness flash creature with Shroud?
How
And
about
or
Pro
Hexproof.
Blue?
Pro Blue? Oh, the manga. There's a mongoose, but I think it's from Invasion, isn't it?
There's
A blurred
Scrib
mongoose?
Ranger. which is a 1/1 fairy for 1 and a green that has flying, pro blue. You can return a land to your hand to untap a creature.
You're right. You're not wrong.
So that would be the
would...
stone nut play for Stephen Comminos. Unfortunately, unless he had the foresight to name fairy with one of these Cavern of Souls, it would have just eaten a spell snake.
All right, so now that Stephen is completely tapped out, we can actually win this game. Does he have another bolt in hand?
Well, he has a Snapcaster.
All right. Do you think he's going to snap bolt, or do you think he's going to activate the Creeping Tar Pit?
He's going to snap bolt.
He's going to think? What are we thinking about? See, that's unacceptable thinking in my mind. You have the win on the board.
Thinking.
Just do it.
Oh, is he going to activate it? He might. He's activating it.
Oh man, I knew he had that $15 card in there for some reason.
It's time. All right, so that'll do it for round 2. We've got about 10 minutes till round 3. We don't have a backup match, obviously, because that one took forever. Thank you very much, the Amish Patrick.
Come back in 10 minutes, see how we do.
Yeah, we'll be back. Smell you later.